I was very angry about someone or something. Now I am okay. Like I see someone that was very, very not nice to me. Okay, so I don't care. I go on and I said to myself, it's his problem. Maybe he has a problem. Maybe he's not happy in his life. Maybe he doesn't see what I see, and that's okay because we cannot see everyone the same on others. And not everyone can understand what you say or what Lanier says. We are so different from each other, and the world could be so happy and so good if everyone were like you and Lanier. Like it could be so special and so wonderful. But now I know I'm happy of what I am now, and I want to be better. And that's the best. Thank you.
Okay. Sangeeta?
I want to share, please. Can I share?
Just a minute. Sangeeta?
אני רוצה להגיד שמתוך הניסיון שלי...
רגע, ריטה, הוא קורא לה... שנייה רגע, ריטה.
Babalal sir? Babalalaya?
பண்ணிக்கணும். சங்கீதா அன்மியூட் பண்ணிக்கிறீங்களா?
பண்ணியாச்சுங்க, சொல்லுங்க.
ஐயாட்ட பேசுங்க.
சங்கீதா என்ன சொல்றாங்க அவங்க, அந்த லேடி என்ன சொன்னாங்க?
ஐயா அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, இப்போ உங்க டீச்சிங்ஸ் இது நீங்க சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க இல்லைங்க, இது வந்து ஃபாலோ பண்ண பிறகு அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கு, சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. இப்போ வந்து அவங்களுக்கு ஒருத்தரோட ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்குன்னா, முன்னாடி எல்லாம் ஒரு மாதிரி டிஸ்டர்ப்டா இருப்பாங்க. இப்ப வந்து அவங்களுக்கு புரியுது அந்த ப்ராப்ளம்னால அவங்களுக்கு தான் இது வந்து எப்படி சொல்றதா, அவர்கிட்ட தான் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு, நம்ம கிட்ட ஒன்றும் இல்லை, மீன்ஸ் நம்ம பண்றதுக்கு ஒன்றும் இல்லை, அந்த மாதிரி புரிஞ்சதுனால இப்ப இவங்க வந்து ரொம்ப ரிலீஃபா இருக்காங்க, ஹாப்பியா இருக்காங்கன்னு சொல்ல வராங்க.
அதாவது நம்ம கிட்ட ஒன்றும் ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லைங்கிற மாதிரி சொல்றாங்களா?
நம்ம கிட்ட ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லைன்னா அவங்க அது எப்படின்னா அவங்க கிட்ட ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு, இது ஒரு மாதிரி டிஸ்டர்பன்ஸ், ஒருத்தவங்களோட பிரச்சனை வரும்போது அவங்க கிட்ட ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு அந்த மாதிரி சொல்றாங்க. அது எப்படி சொல்றாங்கன்னா அவங்க பிரச்சனை அந்த மாதிரி சொல்றாங்க, அவங்க ப்ராப்ளம், அவங்க கிட்ட ப்ராப்ளம், அவங்க பிரச்சனை அந்த மாதிரி சொல்றாங்க. இப்போ அவங்க வந்து ரொம்ப இந்த டீச்சிங் ஃபாலோ பண்ண பிறகு ரிலீஃபா இருக்குன்னு சொல்றாங்க.
இல்ல முன்னால எப்படி ஃபீல் பண்ணாங்க?
முன்னாடி வந்து டிஸ்டர்பன்ஸ், இப்ப எப்படி ஃபீல் பண்றாங்கன்னு தான் சொன்னாங்க, இந்த டீச்சிங்ஸ் இதெல்லாம் ஃபாலோ பண்ண பிறகு.
சரி சரி. பாபுலாலையா, அடுத்த வேற மற்றவங்க யாராவது ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க. பாபுலாலையா?
ஐயா பேசுறேங்க.
மற்ற வேற யாரும் ஷேர் பண்றேன்.
Anybody else wants to share their views? It is open. I would like to listen. Yeah, Rita wants to come online. Happy?
Yes, מתוך הניסיון שלי לגבי השראה ושחרור שדיברת, לא צריך לחפש את זה, צריך להיות ממש ברגיעה ולשכוח מזה, וזה הכל בא לבד. מתוך הניסיון שלי, הכל בא לבד ולא צריך לרדוף אחרי זה. זה מה שרציתי להגיד מתוך הניסיון שלי. תודה.
תודה, ריטה. So Rita is saying that from her own experience, we don't need to fuss about enlightenment and liberation. She says you have to forget about it and everything comes by itself. That's what Rita is saying.
Everything comes by itself.
Yes, that you don't have to make any fuss about getting enlightenment, getting liberation. Just forget about it and relax, and everything will come by itself. That's what Rita is saying.
I want to share as well.
Okay.
Thank you. My opinion is that the enlightenment is some kind of connection to God. I feel that if I'm peaceful enough, I'm not afraid to be alone, because there is always some kind of force that is with me, not judging me or examining me, just being with me, and it gives me peace, because I know I'm always connected to everything, and this gives me the peace and איך אומרים? שלווה.
Like you say, peace.
Peace. Okay. Thank you.
பாபுலால் ஐயா
ஐயா சொல்லுங்க.
அவர் என்ன சொல்றாரு?
ஐயா அவரு இந்த என்லைட்டன்மென்ட் இது வந்து கடவுளோட கனெக்ஷன் அப்படின்றாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து சொன்னது வந்து அவ்வளவு தெளிவா இல்ல. வேணா லைனிற்கு டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணி சொல்றேன். சங்கீதா, உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது தெளிவா தெரிஞ்சதா?
அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, என்லைட்டன்மெண்ட் வந்து கடவுளோட ஒரு கனெக்ஷனு. நம்ம வந்து அமைதியா இருந்தா நம்மனால இந்த கனெக்ஷனை வந்து நல்லா ஃபீல் பண்ண முடியும். அந்த அவரு கூட எப்போதுமே ஒரு பிரசன்ஸ், ஒரு ஃபோர்ஸ், ஒரு பவர் இருக்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபோர்ஸ் இருக்குது. அது வந்து எப்போதுமே அவரை வந்து அரவணைச்சுக்கிட்டு அவரை ஜட்ஜ் பண்ணாம அவரை டெஸ்ட் பண்ணாம அந்த ஃபோர்ஸ் எப்போதுமே அவரோட ஒரு அன்பா இருக்கு. நம்ம பீஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருந்தா நம்ம இதை ஃபீல் பண்ண முடியும். அந்த மாதிரி சொன்னாங்க.
இதுல கம்ப்யூட்டர்ல எனக்கு வந்து அந்த இது தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது. அந்த என்னன்னு தெரியல. இதுல பாருங்க, நான் காட்டுறேன், அது சரிதா பாருங்க.
ஸ்கிரீன்ல ஒன்றும் தெரியலையா? என்ன வேணும்யா உங்களுக்கு?
இல்ல, இது நம்ம வந்து ரெகுலரா வர்றது காணாம போயிட்டு, இதை என்ன பண்ணி அந்த நம்ம இப்ப இதெல்லாம் கொண்டு வர்றதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணலாம்னு ஏதாவது தெரியல.
இப்போ நீங்க பேசுற ஸ்கிரீன் இப்ப நான் பேசுறது தெரியுது இல்லையா உங்களுக்கு?
ஆமா, இப்போ நீங்க ஒண்ணுமே தெரியல, எதுவுமே தெரியல. நான் இந்த செல்போன்ல தான் பாத்துட்டு இருக்கேன்.
சரி,
இப்போ இதுல வந்து இப்ப நான் காட்டுறது வந்து உங்களுக்கு அந்த கம்ப்யூட்டரை பாக்குற மாதிரி வருதா? வியூ வருதா?
இல்லைங்கயா,
செல்போன் அதை நோக்கி பிடிச்சிருக்கிறேன், கம்ப்யூட்டர் நோக்கி.
இல்லையா, அந்த இது பிக்சர்ல வரல. நீங்க வேணா ஒரு தடவை ரீஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுங்க. அதுல உங்களுக்கு மொபைல்ல வரலன்னா.
சரி,
மொபைல்ல வந்து நீங்க கம்ப்யூட்டர்ல உங்களுக்கு ப்ராப்ளமோ?
நம்ம கம்ப்யூட்டர்ல தான் ப்ராப்ளம்.
அப்ப ஒரு காரியம் பண்ணுங்க, ஒரு தடவை வெளியே போயிட்டு உள்ள வாங்க. முதல்ல தெரிஞ்சது இல்ல?
ஆமா, முதல்ல தெரிஞ்சது.
அப்ப வந்து ஒரு தடவை வெளியே போயிட்டு உள்ள வாங்க, நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்றேன்.
ஆனா இப்போ
வந்துருச்சு இல்லையா?
இப்போ
சரி,
வேற ஒன்று இது பண்ண உடனே வந்துட்டு.
சரி.
Anybody else wants to share?
Okay.
Then I will tell something. Afterwards we can discuss. Actually, liberation is not a thing to be attained. Each and every time, each and every moment, we are in liberation. Liberation is our natural thing. We need not create liberation. What is the real meaning of liberation is that liberation means without any boundary, without any restriction. So each and every moment, we have some feeling, we have some emotion, we have some experience. But all experience are momentary. Everything comes and goes. So that is the real nature of the function of our mind. That is always in liberation. The liberation, it is in the liberated condition. But what we are doing is that we want to capture some good emotion, capture some good feeling permanently with us. So that is the first problem we are creating. We want some permanency in a good thing. We want to get away from bad emotion or bad feeling. So that is the some regulating aspect, some regulating intention has come. So only because of the regulative instinct or emotion, regulative thinking, we try to separate ourselves, try to separate our emotion and feelings within ourselves. But separate the other thing, the external world, there are many things. We have to separate something. We want to make some arrangement in the external world. That is different. That we are not speaking about that. What we are speaking is that psychological and inwardly. In the psychologically speaking, we want to have a secured feeling, secured state. So that is the primary root cause of all our problems. And if you try to separate ourselves in a peculiar way, in a good way, then we try for that. So trying for that make us struggle within ourselves. So here, each and every emotion, each and every feeling is only momentary. It cannot continue permanently. So actually, all emotion happens on its own. It comes and goes away, comes and disappears. Only after the disappearance of our emotion and feeling, we recognize the happening of the feeling, happening of the emotion. But when we recognize, we have no work to separate. It is already gone. So here, after many kind of work, many kind of effort to separate ourselves, and after meeting many failures, many disturbances of through our effort, and afterwards, after many practices and anything, then only we find out that we cannot have a permanent emotion, and we cannot have a secured emotions, secured feelings within ourselves. And all our effort to separate ourselves is the root of the problem. So we understand that we have no work psychologically. We have no work to separate ourselves, separate our emotion, because it is already over. When something is already over, we have no work at all. So we have to come to a conclusion like this. So coming to have a conclusion like this very conclusion is only intellectual. Because of our inquiry, because of our discussion, because of our for analysis or everything, then only we have to come to the conclusion like this. And after coming to the conclusion like this, then if we find we have no work within related to our emotion and feelings, then we stop struggling with our emotion, stop struggling with our feelings. So the conclusion, the intellectual conclusion that we have to arrive this conclusion is known as enlightenment. That is the real meaning of enlightenment. We have some light upon the happening of the emotion, happening of the feelings. This light, this understanding is known as the enlightenment. So if we have the enlightenment like this, we leave our emotions freely. We leave our feelings freely to function on its own. When we allow our mind, allow our emotion to function on its own, then that means we are not disturbing the liberated condition of our mind. So actually, the liberation is not a given one. It is already there. So it is already in the liberated condition, but we are unnecessarily disturbing the liberation by want to shape our mind, shape our emotion, shape our feelings in the name of controlling and establishing a good state of mind. We are unnecessarily interfering with the happening of our mind. So otherwise, the happening of our mind is natural. The natural functioning of our mind is a liberation. That is the highest state, highest place in the religious field. So it is already there. We need not attain, we need not create. For that, we have to understand that we have no duty upon liberation. We have no duty upon our functioning of mind. So that before that, in the earlier period or anything, we can have many kind of practice. Every practice is good. Then only we have to come to a conclusion like this. So otherwise, our conclusion will not be a proper one. So if we have to come to a conclusion like this, the matter is over. Because already the liberation, the natural function of our mind is in the liberated condition. It is already there. We have no work at all. So our work is restricted only to the external world. But in the psychological world, if you find any work, that because of some lack of understanding, that we have as if we have some work. But sometimes the emotion we feel, the feeling all anything, something it may be pleasurable, something it may be painful because of the conditioning of our mind, because we have some conscious mind, subconscious mind. The nature of our mind, the nature of our the basic nature of our mind may be in the form of subconscious mind, but we cannot know any details of the subconscious mind. When we feel something, when we experience something, all experiences belong to the conscious mind. If anything comes in the conscious mind, then only we can assume the nature of the subconscious mind. Otherwise, there is no, we cannot assume, we cannot feel the subconscious mind. We cannot understand the subconscious mind. So we have no work upon related to the subconscious mind. But in the conscious mind alone, we feel we have some work. But in the conscious mind itself, we do not have any work. That we have to understand. Even in the conscious mind itself, because all conscious expression, conscious experience is a momentary one. It comes and disappears. And after the disappearance of the conscious expression also alone, we understand the happening of some experience, happening of some feeling. So we have no work with related to the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And then only we know what is the actual happening, actual experience of ourselves. That is the liberated condition of our mind. The liberated condition is the natural state of our mind. And in the natural state is the real existence, that is the real experience of the I consciousness. And it is already there. We need not attain, we need not maintain anything. It is only the real thing. But all the effort related to our existence, related to our experience, is only just like inviting a fight within ourselves. But in the physical world, we have many duty. We can plan, we can execute, everything we can do. But the enlightenment, that the understanding that we have no work psychologically, that alone we have to understand. That is the only work we have. The understanding work alone is the work we have to do. There are no other work, but in the psychological world. But in the physical world, we have to do many things. We can make use of our emotions. We can make use of our ideas. You know, everything we can make use. And if you understand like this, the liberation will be there. If we have the energetic force, energetic flow of the liberation, then every problem will be solved automatically. Because all problems exist only because of our struggling within ourselves. If you do not struggle with ourselves, all problem will be solved on its own. All conscious problem in our mind will be solved on its own. Lanir?
Thank you, Sri Bagavath.
Okay, Lanir, you can say on your own language.
Okay, I'll try to summarize. אז שרי בגבת נתן כאן סקירה די ארוכה, אבל אני אנסה לתמצת את מה שאני מבין. אז הוא דיבר על שחרור והרע. הוא התחיל ואמר ששחרור זה לא דבר שאנחנו צריכים להשיג. השחרור נמצא כאן ועכשיו בכל רגע. זה הטבע שלנו. הטבע שלנו כבר משוחרר. הערה היא המאמץ, זה החיפוש, החקירה, כדי להבין, כדי להגיע להבנה שבעצם אין לנו עבודה לעשות בעולם הפנימי. אז כל המאמצים שלנו בזירה הרוחנית הם מכוונים לקראת ההערה, לקראת השחרור, שחרור טבעי, אבל כדי כביכול להשיג את ההערה, אנחנו צריכים לחקור על מנת להגיע למסקנה ברורה ונחרצת, שאין לנו מה לעשות בעולם הפנימי, שאנחנו יכולים לשחרר ולהניח לעולם הפנימי להיות כמו שהוא. לחקירה, העבודה שאנחנו עושים בעולם הפנימי, שהיא עבודה של חקירה והבנה, היא מגיעה לסיומה עם השלב של ההערה. ההערה זה אותו רגע שבו אנחנו מבינים שכל מה שאנחנו נדרש מאיתנו זה פשוט להניח לדברים להיות כמו שהם. והראייה הבהירה הזאת, ההבנה הבהירה הזאת, היא בעצם מה שמאפשר לנו לחוות את השחרור. אוקיי? אז לאחר מכן שרי בגבת המשיך ואמר שהרצון שלנו להחזיק חוויות מסוימות בתוכנו, והרצון שלנו לדחות חוויות אחרות בתוכנו, הוא בעצם השורש של הסבל. אוקיי? והשחרור למעשה הוא אנחנו, כמו שאנחנו רגילים לחלוטין, אבל בלי הקונפליקט הפנימי, בלי המלחמה הפנימית. זאת אומרת, החיים חופשיים. החיים בלעדי ההתערבות הפנימית הבלתי פוסקת שיוצרת את הסבל. זהו, שרי בגבת, I finished.
Okay. We can discuss in this line. If anybody wants to raise any question on this line, we may discuss.
אז שרי בגבד שוב פותח את הדיון, ומי שרוצה לשאול, להעיר, לשתף, ותבינו שהדיאלוג עם שרי בגבד הוא ייתכן רק אם אנחנו צריכים לחקור, אחרת הוא לא ינדב לנו הרבה מידע. אנחנו צריכים לחקור אותו ולהתעקש על נקודות שאנחנו לא מבינים, אחרת פשוט תגמור את השידור וילך. אז תלוי בנו, אוקיי?
Yeah, so I have one question. So I understand that liberation is our natural state, and enlightenment is the understanding that we have no work in the internal world. The question I have is about this understanding with relation to remembering and forgetting. Okay, I can understand something, but I can forget that I understood it, right? And in the beginning, I can understand and remember that for 1 hour a day, and after keep reminding myself and remembering that again and again, it becomes 5 hours a day, 8 hours a day. Can you speak a little bit about this from the moment of the first understanding to the moment of always remembering?
So here, if we forget, what will happen? Natural thing alone will happen. So we need not give some energy to the natural happening. Natural happening, anyhow it is happening naturally. Sometimes we may unconsciously interfere with the natural happening. But when we conscious of your unnecessary interference with the natural happening, then you understand that you have no work. So that is enough. So unconsciously you may interfere with yourself, doesn't matter. But consciously you don't interfere with your function. That alone is enough. And everything will be all right. Because whatever happening unconsciously, we are not responsible. But conscious interference with ourselves alone is the problem.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is that I can be conscious of what I'm doing, but not remembering.
So remembering means unconsciously you remember. Unconsciously you fight with yourself, then unconsciously you remember that unnecessarily you are fighting. So yes, everything happens unconsciously. You need not consciously work for that. But whenever you remember, then everything will be all right on its own. Okay.
So maybe one more question.
Okay.
If this is all it is, then what's the big deal about all this enlightenment, and how come it's so simple?
But anyhow, if you understand it is okay, actually nature is very simple. We make it complicated. This way, enlightenment, liberation, concerning with the liberation, it is more simple than the enlightenment. The enlightenment is also somewhat we have to understand, we have to work for that. But the liberation is more than simple. It is more simpler. And the liberation alone is the highest thing. Comparing with the enlightenment, liberation is the highest thing. It is more simple. It is natural. We need not create liberation. But at the same time, we have to understand. The understanding, we have to some work for that. After coming to a conclusion like this, then you made it simple. Or mute tighter.
So Danny, you would like to say something more?
I just said, thank you, I understand.
Okay.
Okay. Are there more questions?
I just want to ask a question. I
Okay.
feel that my liberation is going slowly, slowly, slowly. I feel like I feel okay. It will never end because all our life we see, we have, we feel like not good things, and it happened like the COVID that is now. 1 year ago, no one thought about it, and now it is here. So we have to be in it and to take the good things of it. So maybe we will have more surprises all my life. I don't think when I will, in 10 years, I will have the possibility to understand everything. But I'm happy that every day is better. That's what I want to say.
என்ன கேக்குறாங்க?
ஐயா அவங்க சொல்றாங்க இந்த இந்த ப்ராசஸ் வந்து ஒரு ஒரு மெதுவா ஸ்லோவா போற ப்ராசஸ்ன்னு அவங்க ஃபீல் பண்றாங்க. இந்த அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அவங்க வந்து அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் இது வந்து ஒரு ஸ்லோவா போற ப்ராசஸ்ன்னு சொன்னாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, நம்மளுக்கு வர்ற நம்ம லைஃப்ல வர சிச்சுவேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் எல்லாமே வந்து நல்லதா இல்ல. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இந்த கொரோனா வந்ததுனால யாருமே எதிர்பார்க்கல கொரோனா வரும்னு. ஆனா இப்ப வந்து ஒரு வருஷம் போயிடுச்சு. இந்த கொரோனா வந்ததுனால ஒரு வருஷம் போயிடுச்சு. ஸோ இதே மாதிரி டிஃப்ரெண்ட் சிச்சுவேஷன்ஸ் நம்மளுக்கு லைஃப்ல வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். இருந்தாலும் இப்ப கொஞ்சம் வந்து இன்னைக்கு நல்லா இருக்கு அந்த மாதிரி தான் சொன்னாங்க. அவங்க கொரோனா இந்த எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பத்தி சொன்னாங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இது வந்து ஒரு ஸ்லோவான ப்ராசஸ், அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் புரிதல் வந்து ஒரு ஸ்லோவான ப்ராசஸ் அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லிட்டு இத பத்தி சொல்றாங்க.
I also admit that the process of understanding is very slow. That we have to take some effort. Unless we take some effort to understand, we cannot understand easily. But at the same time, liberation is easy. Liberation is natural. We need not create liberation. It is already there. But the understanding is somewhat we have to work. If you are unable to work, some different kind of work, different kind of practices, some devotion, bhakti. So in this way, many kind of teachings, many kind of practices are there. Everything is aiming to get the understanding like this, understanding the enlightenment. So it is somewhat, we have to take some time. But at the same time, within the external situation is concerned, everywhere some problem may be there. Sometimes the situation may be good, sometimes the situation may be bad, but that you have to work because it needs some work. And it is permanently, it will be like that. So we have to make some arrangement to everything to under a control. We have to work a lot to control and regulate the situation. That is permanent. It is not a temporary one. Some different kind of situation will be arrive. Some different kind of situation will be happen. That is a different thing. But in the external world is concerned, world will be always like this. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be bad. We have to work for that. We have to plan for that. But psychologically, it is also a reflection. According to the situation, we also have some psychological reflection, psychological emotion. If you are in a good situation, good emotion will come. If you are in a bad situation, bad emotion will come. That is natural. But at the same time, we have to fight for the situation, but we should not fight against our emotions. So that we have to understand. The fighting against our emotion is unnecessary. It is waste of energy. That is the real problem. If you understand that we need not fight with ourselves, fight with the situation is we can do. We can fight. But we should not fight with ourselves. That is the thing. Fighting with ourselves means fighting to separate our emotions. That is natural. If you do not fight with ourselves, some different kind of function will be happening within yourself.
עוד מישהו רוצה לשאול? somebody else wants to ask or discuss? I have a question, Sri Bagavath.
Okay, you can ask.
We say, you say that all the effort in the spiritual field should go to the understanding, to the enlightenment stage, to understand. So, is there something we can do? Because in order to understand, we need a clear mind, right? We need a clarity of mind that we can look at the things afresh and with no prejudice, and just look at the whole matter and find out for ourselves what is the truth about this inner world. So my question is some things are contributing to this clarity of mind? For example, eating healthy and wholesome food, does it enable us to have a clear mind? Or maybe practicing yoga or practicing meditation, does all that in some way contribute to the clarity of mind that makes us fit to understand this enlightenment that you talk about? Or it's not, there's no connection? You can eat wrong food, you can not be smoking, all these things, and have this clarity of mind. Are these things connected anyway?
So all this practice will support a healthy atmosphere, but it is not directly connected to the clarity of mind. The clarity of mind, that means, as you said, there should not be any prejudice. It must be always logical, and it must be critical, and it wants to know the truth. What is the truth behind that? It is always towards the truth. But the practice will give you some experience, some good experience, and it creates some intention to capture the good experience. For as a beginner, we can try anything we can use. But at the same time, the clarity of mind only because that you do not have any prejudice and real intention to understand the truth behind the natural happening. It is related only to the actually what is the actual meaning of that we have to understand. That is the clarity, not prejudiced by any, because all experiences related to some practices or anything, that we are prejudiced in, because we are accustomed to and adapted to any practice. But clarity is not attached to any kind of emotions or anything. But practices are attached to emotions.
Okay. Thank you.
לניר, אתה יכול להסביר לנו את התשובה שלך, את התשובה שלו? תודה.
Rita asked that I will speak in Hebrew and explain your question, the answer. So I'll speak a few words in Hebrew. אז אני שאלתי את שרי בגבת לגבי האם תרגולים מסוימים, כמו תרגול של יוגה, כמו אכילה של מזון בריא וטוב, כמו תפילות, כמו כל תרגול רוחני אחר, האם זה לא תורם לבהירות של ההכרה על מנת שנוכל להגיע להבנה הזאת בצורה קלה יותר. אז שרי בגבת אמר שכל התרגולים האלה יוצרים אווירה, אטמוספירה יותר טובה עבור עצמנו, בריאה יותר, אבל הם לא קשורים בקשר ישיר להבנה. מבחינתו הדבר הכי חשוב שתורם להבנה זה הכוונה הפנימית שלך, החיפוש אחר האמת, שאתה מוכן לראות את הדברים כמו שהם, ושלא יהיו לך דעות קדומות, ושיהיה לך את הרצון הפנימי הזה להגיע לחקר האמת ולדעת איך הדברים עובדים באמת. זה מבחינתו הדבר החשוב ביותר, זה מבחינתו הדבר העיקרי שמוביל את הבן אדם בסופו של דבר להבנה. מאוד להוסיף שכשאתה מתרגל, יש תמיד את הסכנה שאתה תצמד לחוויות הטובות שאתה מפיק מהתרגול, ותשכח מהחיפוש אחר האמת. ולכן הוא לא מסמן קשר ישיר בין תרגול לבין הערה, הבנה.
תודה, thank you.
Welcome. So, Sri Bagavath, most of the people that come to you, they come after long years of meditation, yoga practice, and all kinds of...
Yeah.
So,
afterwards alone, they need my help. Before that, they help themselves through some practices. But everything is good because, for example, we are not ready to accept ourselves in a painful situation. But at the same time, the yoga practices give some strength to accept pain. It is a kind of yoga, accepting pain, receptiveness to vulnerable to pain. So they create some practice. So in this way, they indirectly training to accept ourselves. But we are directly teach them to accept ourselves straight away.
Okay, so indirectly, it helps for the indirectly. I mean, the practice.
Yeah.
Indirectly, it helps, but not directly.
Not directly.
So you say, in your case, Sri Bagavath, was this understanding, it came gradually to you during a course of time? Or there was a moment, like you say, in this July 15, August 2006, I understood and that's it? Or was it kind of a gradual process of understanding?
So, and there is no gradual in understanding, but you have to convince yourself that you are understood properly. That is you have to convince. So if the convincing is not happening, then you have to inquire more. If you convince yourself this is the understanding, the matter is over.
So this is the confirmation that you speak.
Confirmation.
So you say, from what I understand that you just talked about, is although you understand, you keep searching and deepening the understanding more and more.
There is no deepening in the understanding. Experience may be superficial or deeper experience, but the understanding is concerned, it is only intellectual. You have to come to a conclusion. If you do not conclude, you have to inquire more and more. So if you arrive to a conclusion, that's the end of the game. There is no deep understanding. There is no all understanding is very superficial. Understanding. All understanding is very superficial, very but the intellectual has to conclude. You should
like understanding that 1 + 1 is 2. It's not deep understanding. It's just understanding.
Just like this.
I think for many of us, maybe the hard thing is to be convinced that this is that this simple thing is what everybody else talked about in such a bombastic way, in such a, you know, making enlightenment and liberation not a human, like it's something so great that hardly no human can achieve it. So for many of us, it's hard to be convinced that this simple understanding is what it is all about.
Because we cannot come to this understanding straight away. Because if you come to the understanding straight away, then what will be our advice? You need not do anything. But at the same time, the person who wants to attain something, because he may be in a painful situation, he may have some painful experience. So he wants some change. But if we say you need not do anything, he will not accept. So all the practices and everything, we have to divert them in a different way. We have to take in a roundabout way. Then only everything will be all right. So as we have the practices in a roundabout way, the straight way of understanding, the straight understanding will be look somewhat not an easy job. But anyhow, after getting round and round about that, understanding this and that, then only conclusively you have to come to a conclusion like this.
So you say that spiritual teachers, real spiritual teacher, uses this practice as a skillful mean to bring the person in a roundabout way to this to the same understanding.
Yeah, same understanding.
So practice and all these things are only a skillful mean to bring people to the same thing.
Same thing.
Because they are not ready to accept the simple truth at the moment.
Yeah.
So one question related. It's about children. Okay, so a child would be, of course, naturally liberated, like any adult. Yeah, like an adult. But then he doesn't have the understanding, of course, or is not enlightened about the fact that he has no role in the freedom of his inner world. Is there a way to save for a child the hard road of first feeling not okay with the feelings and starting all the process until he's adult, that he needs to change, to control, till the point he understands at the end of the road that what he felt when he was a child was actually all that is needed, and disturbing that was the wrong thing to do. Is there a way to start something earlier and save that pain, or everybody has to go through that pain?
சங்கீதா என்ன சொல்றாங்க அவங்க?
ஐயா, அவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, இப்போ குழந்தைங்க வந்து அந்த லிபரேட்டட் ஸ்டேட்ல தான் இருக்காங்கய்யா. ஆனா குழந்தைங்களுக்கு வந்து இந்த அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்கே இல்ல. இப்போ உள்ள வந்து இன்னர் வேர்ல்ட்ல நம்ம மைண்ட் மேல நம்மளுக்கு கண்ட்ரோல் இல்ல. அந்த மாரி எந்த அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்கும் இல்லாம, அவங்க ஏற்கனவே இந்த லிபரேட்டட் ஸ்டேட்ல தான் இருக்காங்க. ஆனா வளர வளர இது வந்து இந்த அவங்க எப்படியோ இத வந்து மறந்துடுறாங்க. அப்புறம் நம்மள மாரி ஆயிடுறாங்க. இப்போ நம்ம உள்ள சண்டை போட்டுக்கிட்டு, போராடிக்கிட்டு, இப்போ நம்மள மாரி ஆயிடுறாங்க. ஆனா இப்ப வந்து நம்மளுக்கு ஃபைனலா புரியுது, உள்ள நம்மளுக்கு ரோலே இல்ல நம்ம மைண்ட்லன்னு. சோ இப்ப இவங்க என்ன கேக்குறாங்கன்னா, குழந்தைங்க நேச்சுரலாவே இந்த லிபரேட்டட் ஸ்டேட்ல இருக்காங்க. சோ இத வந்து இந்த எப்படினாச்சும் காப்பாத்திக்க முடியுமா? காப்பாத்திக்க முடியும்னா, அந்த ஃபைனல் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் இருக்கு இல்லைங்களா? இன்சைடு மைண்ட் மேல நம்மளுக்கு கண்ட்ரோல் இல்லன்னு. சோ அவங்க குழந்தைங்க அந்த இருக்கிற ஸ்டேட்ல இருந்தே இத அப்படியே காப்பாத்திக்க முடியுமா? as they grow up, அவங்க வளரும்போது இத அப்படியே காப்பாத்திக்க முடியுமான்னு கேக்குறாங்க. அந்த அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்க காப்பாத்திக்க முடியுமா? அந்த மாதிரி.
So all children are in the liberated state, but at the same time our intellect is growing little by little. All children gets the intellect growing. So when the intellect grows, naturally it will disturb to set right everything. So the pattern of setting right something will gradually develop in the children. But at the same, in the children, they do not know what to do. There is some limited knowledge. So only after a growing alone, they have to know what is the problem in regulating ourselves. But in the early period, they do not know. But at the same time, basically all children are in the liberated condition. So as a parent, we have to teach them as they everybody is giving importance to give importance to the intellect. We have to give them some understanding that we have to use their intellect in a limited way. So that alone we have to teach, not to disturb the innocence. The innocence is the real state. The innocence is the liberated state. But the intellect is against the innocence. So we have to teach them innocence is the higher state related to the intellect. That knowledge you have to put. That alone is possible.
Okay, thank you.
ஐயா, இப்போ ஒரு டவுட்டுங்க. இப்போ குழந்தைங்களுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி சொல்லி கொடுக்குறோங்க. எந்த ஏஜ்ல நம்ம இந்த மாதிரி சொல்லி கொடுக்கலாம்? ஒரு 12 இயர்ஸா, 13 இயர்ஸா? இந்த மாதிரி இப்ப நம்ம கான்செப்டேங்க உள்ள சண்டை போட வேண்டாம், வெளியில தான் எல்லாமே பண்ணணும். அது எந்த ஏஜ்ல சொல்லி கொடுக்கலாங்க? 12 இயர்ஸ், 13 இயர்ஸ் இந்த மாதிரி எப்படி எந்த ஏஜ்ல அவங்க நல்லா புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு எடுத்துக்குவாங்க பிள்ளைங்களை வளர்க்கறது?
Sangeeta, can you repeat your question in English so that Lanir can understand?
Yes, Aya. My question is, like children are naturally in a liberated state. So, but as Aya has told, their understanding is very limited. So we need to explain to the child that the innocence is a higher state than the intellect. The intellect is very much necessary for anyone to solve our outer world problems. So my question was that, at what age can we educate the children about Aya's concepts? This simple concept that whatever we need to do is only in the outer world and not fighting with ourselves or in the mind. At what age will the children be receptive to this kind of understanding in simple language? We have to teach this to our kids.
So when a child find fault with his own emotion or want to get some disturbance about its own emotion, then only try to fight with its own emotion. So at that stage, we have to educate to accept all emotion. We should not, we have to appreciate all emotions. So appreciating all emotion is the teaching of in our line. So we know emotion is bad, and every emotion is good in the sense of liberation. So we have to, whenever we find that the child is against his own emotion, we have to teach all the emotions are good. So in this way, gradually we have to educate. Age may be around 5 or above 5.
Okay.
Okay. Lainir, time is more than 1 hour, and we can then next week we can.
I can continue next.
Thank you all.
Mr. Leonard, I have got. Mr. Leonard, I have got.
Thank you.
1 minute, Mr. Leonard, I have got a question to you.
Yeah.
I understand that you are taking Sri Bagavath message to people in Israel. Okay. How do they find it, and what problem you face, and what result they get? Can you tell this to us?
From the people in Israel?
Yeah.
Is it, you mean, is it helpful for them, or what? How people are reacting to this kind of message? This is the question.
Yeah, what is the reaction? Is it helpful, or do they accept, or they don't accept? What problem you face on account of this? What is your experience of taking this message to those people?
Well, for me, I think many people in Israel are very open to this kind of message, very open, because many people here are already practicing meditation and yoga for many years, many of them. This is the Israeli people. Some of them are very spiritual people, so they are ready. And for me, I see almost I never faced any, bad opposition, or some people just they feel something, but then they just walk away. But nobody is saying it's not true what you are saying. This is wrong. There's no such reaction. Everybody is saying it's true. Some of them take it very seriously, but some of them put it aside and continue on with their life. But generally, I would say this message is very accepted, very appreciated, very valued in Israel. A precious gem.
What kind of benefit they get? Are their anger level comes down, or something else comes down? Any measurement like that?
Yeah.
Maybe I can share something from my
Oh,
family.
Sure.
Yeah, one of my kids had in the past anxiety attacks, very, very severe anxiety attacks, and he took care of that, and just maybe 3 weeks ago he had another one that came, and him and I discussed exactly the message from Sri Bagavath, and it was very, very beautiful to see how he got it. Within 1 minute he got it. And then this anxiety attack simply disappeared. And usually it takes a few weeks or something like that. So it was, he immediately got it. It's the understanding that you don't have to do anything is very relaxing and very liberating. You just need somebody to tell you that, just let it happen, let it go, and it will go away, because you cannot really control it. and you are the one who's giving that energy. Without your help, it will not stay. This message is so strong and so simple that anybody can understand it. It's not even spiritual, it's psychological almost, right?
Cool. So you have got a very, very, very beautiful antiviral injection with you.
Very, very, very beautiful. Yes. Magic. Yeah.
Magic. Oh, great.
I know a woman that just she read the book that we translated the book into Hebrew. Don't Delay Enlightenment. And I met her a few months later, and we spoke. And she told me, yes, I read this book. I didn't even know this woman. And that's it. It's over for me. I understood everything. And she was very natural about it. That the whole spiritual quest and inner fighting was done for her. She was completely in peace just from reading the book. So I think people in Israel, they are ready for that kind of message, and it's yeah, it's reducing stress, anti-stress.
So nice. Thank you for all your efforts. I just want to understand. Thank you very much. So you can say in Hebrew and then conclude.
אוקיי, אז אנחנו סיימנו להיום. אז תודה לכולם שהשתתפו. Thank you, Sri Bagavath.
Thank you very much. And תודה רבה לך, ניר.
Thank you.
תודה. Thank you.
Meet next week. Thank you, Sri Bagavath.